I want you to picture two blokes on the same warehouse floor. Same forklift license, same shift, same award wage. $34 an hour, give or take. They started on the same induction day, 8 years ago. Walk through the car park, and you'll spot the first one straight away. A near-new Ranger, the top-spec one, tow bar, light bar, the lot. Finance payment of $720 a fortnight. Inside his place, because he's shown you photos, there's a 85-inch TV, a PS5, a home gym he bought during one lockdown and hasn't touched since the next one ended. He's got the gear. He looks like the bloke who's doing all right. Check his bank account, and he's got $1,400 in savings. He's 2 sick weeks away from ringing his mom for a loan. The second bloke drives a 2014 Corolla with 190,000 kilometers on it. Same warehouse, same wage, same 8 years. Nobody clocks him as the one doing well. He doesn't bring it up. He's got $96,000 in his super on top of the compulsory contributions and another $40,000 sitting in an offset account against a unit he bought 5 years ago. Same job. Same money coming in. One of them is broke. One of them is, quietly, doing better than half the office upstairs. If you had to guess from the car park who's got their life sorted, you'd get it wrong. And that gap, between looking like you're doing fine and actually being financially secure, is the most expensive gap in the whole country right now. Today I'm going to show you exactly why the rich-looking ones are so often the broke ones and what the quiet ones are doing instead. My name's Kim, and this is Money Mind. Mate number one isn't an idiot. He's not blowing it on pokies or paying off some secret addiction. He just never stopped to add up what things actually cost him. Because everything you buy costs you twice. The first cost is the one on the price tag. The Ranger. $61,000 drive away. Everyone sees that number. The second cost is the one nobody adds up. And for a lot of things, the second cost is bigger than the first. The second cost, take the Ranger. The repayment's $720 a fortnight. Sure, but there's also comprehensive insurance on a $61,000 vehicle. Easily $1,800 a year more than insuring the Corolla. There's the bigger tires, the diesel instead of the cheaper unleaded, the Rego based on a heavier vehicle. Add it up and that truck is costing him closer to $26,000 a year just sitting in his life. For a vehicle that, outside of one tip run a month, does exactly what the Corolla does, gets him to the warehouse and back. The home gym's the same story. $4,500 spent 2 winters ago. Use it twice a week. Maybe for the first 6 weeks. After that, it's a $4,500 clothes rack. That's not a $4,500 mistake. Factor in what that $4,500 would have become sitting in an index fund instead. At 8% average returns over 10 years, that's close to $9,700. So the home gym didn't cost $4,500. It cost $4,500 plus roughly $5,200 in money it'll never become. Call it $9,700 for a fold-up bench currently holding a pile of washing. That's the second cost. Storage, insurance, finance interest, and the dollars that should have been compounding instead. Nobody puts that number on the price tag, so nobody adds it up until it's eaten their whole pay packet. Rule 1, cost per use. So here's the first thing the quiet bloke does differently. He runs cost per use before he buys anything. Not, how many times do I hope to use this? How many times will I actually use this, given how I actually live? The 85-inch TV at $2,200, watched every night for 5 years. That's about 25 cents a use. Genuinely fair value. The home gym at $4,500 used maybe 20 times total before it became furniture. That's $225 a use. That's not a purchase. That's a donation to Anytime Fitness's competitor that you happen to store in your spare room. Cost per use doesn't say, don't spend. It says, do the maths before the emotion talks you into it at the till. Rule 2, the replacement test. Second thing he does, the replacement test. Walk through your house. For every single thing, ask, if this vanished tonight, would I actually go and buy it again? Be honest about it. Would you rebuy the soda stream? The air fryer's mate? The sandwich press? The work boots you bought for camping that have been camping 0 times? For most stuff, the honest answer is no. It's not there because you need it. It's there because it showed up one day and nobody's bothered moving it on. That stuff isn't neutral. It's actively costing you. Space in the garage. Time spent moving it when you clean. A bit of mental clutter every time you walk past it and think, I should sell that. The bloke with $96,000 in super isn't a minimalist on principle. He just doesn't keep things that fail the replacement test. Rule 3, never upgrade out of boredom third. And this one's the big one in a warehouse crew, because it's social. Never upgrade something that still works. The Ute that was towing fine last year doesn't need replacing because the new model's got a bigger screen. The phone that still makes calls and runs the Footy app doesn't need replacing because your mate's got the new one. Boredom isn't broken. A newer model existing isn't broken. The average Aussie upgrades their car every 4 to 5 years, often trading something that's still got another 5 years left in it. Do that across a working life: car, phone, TV, tools, and the quiet number is well past $150,000 in stuff that got replaced for no reason, except it got a bit boring to look at. That's $150,000 in upgrades. Or it's a unit deposit. It's the same money. It just depends which one you pick. Rule 4, engineer the friction. 4th thing, he doesn't rely on willpower because willpower runs out, especially after a double shift when you're tired and the Facebook Marketplace Ute ad looks really, really good. So he engineers it. Money for super and the offset account comes out on payday automatically before he ever sees it sitting in every day. Buy now, pay later apps. Deleted. No saved card details on any shopping site, so every purchase means actually getting up and finding the wallet, which kills about 7 in 10 impulse buys before they happen. Meanwhile, he's made saving the path of least resistance and spending the path with a few speed bumps on it. That's not discipline. That's just better wiring. Rule 5, define enough last one. And this is the one that actually explains the whole gap. He decided years ago what enough looks like. A reliable car. A decent unit. A few mates over for a Barbie on the weekend. He defined it before his pay went up, so when the pay rises came, they went into the offset account instead of into a bigger Ute. Mate number 1 never defined enough. So every pay rise became a slightly nicer version of what he already had. The Ranger replaced a perfectly good Hilux. The 85-inch replaced a perfectly good 65-inch. He's not earning less than the other bloke. He's just never arrived anywhere, because the finish line keeps moving every time his pay does. Back to the car park. So go back to that car park. The bloke in the Ranger isn't behind because he earns less. He earns exactly the same. He's behind because every dollar that came in immediately became a slightly better version of stuff he already had. And none of those upgrades made him happier 12 months later. They just became the new normal, the same way the old stuff used to be normal. The bloke in the Corolla isn't ahead because he's tighter or because he doesn't enjoy his life. He's ahead because he ran the maths on the second cost, he asked what he'd actually replace, he stopped upgrading things that weren't broken, and he decided years ago what enough looked like. So the pay rises actually went somewhere instead of evaporating into a nicer car park. Same wage, same 8 years. Completely different 40-year-olds standing in front of you. The difference was never the income. It was what each of them decided enough meant. If you're on the tools in a warehouse, on a wage that never quite feels like it stretches, this is the actual gap. Not what you earn. What you decided was enough before the next pay rise landed. If you want the next breakdown, subscribe to MoneyMind. I'll see you in the next one.